to today's Candidates Forum. We are interviewing today the candidates who are running for County Commission in Cumberland County. I'm Christina Egan. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Portland Council of Governments. County government in Maine is largely invisible to the people who fund it through their property taxes, and yet it plays a very important role in this region. It manages the jails, the courts, the cross-insurance arena, and provides emergency management and regionalized services to our cities and towns. Most people can't name their county commissioner, and we are holding this candidates forum to shine some light on this race. We at the Greater Portland Council of Governments believe the county plays an important role in our lives and in our region, and we are pleased to welcome all of you here so that voters can get to know you. To keep it fair for the 6 candidates today, and to keep it fast-paced for all of you who are watching, we will have time limits on answers, ranging from rapid fire up to 90 seconds. Our timekeeper will flash the yellow card when you've used half your time, and red when we ask you to stop speaking. Some questions I'll ask of all of you, some I'll ask of 2 or 3 of you, and I'll rotate who answers first. And we're going to start in alphabetical order by last name. And my first question for all of you is to introduce yourself and tell us, why are you running for County Commission? Marfine, Chan, I'd like to start with you.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina, and for GPCOG for hosting this forum. I'm very happy to be here among folks that also care about county government. I'm running because I get asked that question all the time. What does the county do? Why is it important? And for me, that's an opportunity for folks like myself and folks that are here today to really step up and not only talk about what county government is in its history, but also where we could take county government. I think the way things have been done over the history of the county governments has fit the times that they are in. But I think we're in different times with different problems, and I think our solutions need to match the size and scale of the problems that we're facing in terms of housing, in terms of transportation, homelessness, and even climate change. And so I'm running because I really want to bring my perspective and bring my vision to this office and to make sure that everyone knows who their county commissioners are.
Thank you, Marfine. Amy.
Thank you, Christina. So I'm Amy LaShore, and I'm running for District 3, Cumberland County Commissioner role. I bring over 20 years of finance, economic development, and public service experience to the Cumberland County Commissioner role. And most recently, I've spent the past 3 years creating an innovative product for rural business development. As a former CFO, I've also worked on complex and extensive budgets. I also bring previous municipal experience. I was elected vice chair of the Damerscott Select Board, and I was chair of its finance committee. I bring steady strategic leadership with a focus on financial responsibility, transparency. I also bring an extensive network in Maine's economic and community development ecosystems. I primarily wanted to throw my hat in when I had been hearing from constituents, and myself was concerned about the ICE contract, but Patty and folks have already solved that issue. But a lot of my expertise would now be in bringing community together around budget and services.
Thank you, Amy. Joel.
Thanks. And thanks to GPCOG for inviting us here today. My name is Joel Mahaffey. I'm a resident of North Yarmouth, Maine, and I recently exited ownership of a small business in Portland, and I'm looking forward to putting my energy into supporting my local community. I'm a very curious person by nature, and I'm also very curious to learn how county government works, and I find that educating myself and supporting good communication to people who are invested in solving challenges that face us is the best way to get consensus on how to solve those problems.
Great. Thank you, Joel. Sigrid.
I'm Sigrid Olson. I'm running for County Commissioner in the Democratic primary for District 4. I'm a resident of Cape Elizabeth, and I'm running because I really strongly believe that Maine, which is a large state and has many, nearly 500, often very small municipalities, needs a strong layer of elected government in between, and counties are it. But counties actually are kind of forgotten, and so my real motivation to run is to change that and to strengthen the role of counties in solving regional problems and responding to the needs of the electorate.
Thank you, Sigrid. Patty.
Thank you very much, Christina. My name is Patricia Smith. Most people know me as Patty Smith. I live in South Portland and a lifelong Democrat. I knew early on I wanted to impact folks in a positive way. And I was elected 3 separate times as city councilor of South Portland, twice as mayor. And during those 9 years of serving South Portland, we had a landmark decision that was environmental in nature. We stopped tar sands oil coming through our community. I was very proud of that. But I also recognized in those 9 years, we weren't able to solve some of those larger problems. We really needed a county or wider regional approach to solving some of those issues, like the housing crisis. Fast forward about 4 years ago, I was elected as the Cumberland County Commissioner for District 4 by the folks in Westbrook, Cape Elizabeth, South Portland, and Portland 5-1 precinct. And through my work with the commissioner, I'm happy to report that we had a huge social justice victory in removing ICE from the U.S. Marshals contract. I'm very proud of that as well. And I think on a day-to-day level, we work with a lot of partner organizations like GPCOG to work on the housing crisis. We work with Preble Street with their human trafficking initiatives. We work with a wonderful organization called Through These Doors, which works on domestic violence reduction. And just by the way, the state of Maine ranks 9th in the country for domestic violence, and 50% of the homicides in 2025 were related to domestic violence. So clearly working on some important issues, and I look forward to continuing my work as county commissioner. Thank you.
Bob.
My name is Bob Vale. I'm from Cumberland. I'm currently a town councilor, 3rd term. Previous to that, I served 5 terms, 15 years on the Cumberland North Yarmouth School Board. I've served 15 years on my local planning board. I'm a 40-year member of the Lions Club, Cumberland North Yarmouth, and a Melvin Jones Fellow. I've spent a good part of my adult life in public service. I currently have served as the chairman of the Cumberland County Finance Committee, which is an advisory committee to the board at large. I'm currently working with a small working group of people from Falmouth, Yarmouth, North Yarmouth, Cumberland, and Freeport, and with the county manager and Christina herself on how we can consolidate some of our programs and services and communities. And one of the reasons that I'm running is the constant turnover of people in fire departments, rescue, public service, public works. Everybody's trying to hire the same person. Everybody's trying to compete against the other. And so many of these, even back to office staffing jobs, so much can be done by collaborating closely together. And this working group, we're working towards to get that, some insights on that. And so I'm trying to bring that to a larger degree to the county level, because I've never come in and met anybody who said, my taxes are too low. Everybody says my taxes are too high. So don't blame me for trying to do something different. And I think that's what we have to do at the county level. We have to bring fresh ideas, fresh approaches, and try to do something that benefits the whole county as a large. And that's my working process.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you all for introducing yourselves to the voters. And I also want to just take a moment just to thank you for running. All of you have wonderful reasons for trying to represent the residents of the county, and really glad that you're putting yourself out there. It's difficult to do that. We're now going to go into the role of county government and explore, what does Cumberland County do? How should it expand its role? And what should it not do? So Amy, Joel, and Sigrid, this question is for you. And Amy, I'm going to start with you. Many homeowners in Cumberland County don't know what slice of their property tax bill goes to the county and what value they receive for that tax investment. What do you see as the core responsibilities of Cumberland County and its commission? 30 seconds.
Well, the core responsibilities of Cumberland County are pretty well marked out by the state statute. So we have to kind of live within these boundaries. That being said, I believe Cumberland County can use its wherewithal to create more strategic partnerships. There's 16 counties and 16 commissions we can work with. We can start to collaborate and put measures towards the state to get additional fundings to help alleviate taxpayers. And that's my 30 seconds.
Great. Joel?
Thank you. Again, I'm very curious to learn more about the role of county in supporting the towns that within Cumberland County, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for collaboration in county government, and I think that it would be really great to explore how we can better communicate to the residents of the county what the role of county government is and how we're supporting the residents.
Great. Thank you. Sigrid?
Well, I mean, the county has a whole list of things that it does, like the jail, the sheriff, the district, the courts, and it maintains the register of deeds. So there are a number of things functions that it needs to provide, and but one of the most important one is channeling federal funds, like through the community development block grants, through the ARPA funds, and I think that that's a place where we can really focus on the issues of the county.
Patty, Bob, and Marfine, this question is for you. A retired couple in Naples is on a fixed income. Their county tax went up again this year. Walk them through what they're getting for that money, and what did the county deliver to them in the last year? Patty, we'll start with you.
Sure.
30 seconds.
I would say to that couple, I totally appreciate the tax burden that the county may put on their total tax income, but they have a 911 center, a dispatch center that is state of the art. It's off on Wyndham, off of River Road, and clearly when people need us in a crisis, 911 and a Cracker Jack staff is what we have, and they receive that kind of service when they're in trouble. So I say that's one thing that they get from the county living out. You said Naples?
Yeah.
Naples. They'll receive from us in the county.
Bob?
You know, I'd really like to answer the question everybody else answered.
Sorry.
All right, can you repeat the question?
Sure. A retired couple in Naples is on a fixed income. Their county tax went up again this year. Walk them through what they're getting for that money.
They could get a lot better punch for their dollar. What they get is emergency management. They get, for the most part, some of the towns don't participate in county dispatch, but dispatch is probably one of the most important things that's available to people who are elderly, who need help. It's the most visceral. When you would call 911, county dispatch, if you call from a cell phone, they can tell you what room you're in your house. They can dispatch a piece of apparatus that is closest to the incident, not necessarily bounded by town lines.
Thank you, Bob. Marfine?
Yeah, I think that once folks get to look into it and they have folks helping to explain it, you know, the county taxes have gone up, I think, almost 13% for this upcoming budget year. But at the same time, we can say we stood by our values, our moral values, and our civic values in terms of canceling the ICE contract. That's definitely comes with some consequences in terms of we've lost federal funding. But at the same time, we can say as a community, we stood alongside our immigrant neighbors, and really we're investing in what we want our communities to be, which is welcoming. The second piece is the county does a whole lot in terms of housing and investing in transportation as well.
Thank you. This question is for all of you, and I'm going to start with you, Joel. You have 60 seconds. Are there areas in which Cumberland County should take more of a role or less of a role?
That's a great question. I'm new to running for county commission, so I would first look to explore the entirety of what the county can be responsible for before making a decision about what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Okay, thank you. Sigrid?
Well, I think that they should be doing more with economic development, because I think good paying jobs are really what is going to lift this region. It's going to help with affordability. It's going to help with paying your property taxes for the county. And I think there's plenty of opportunity. We need to get everybody on the same page. I've read all the stuff, and certainly the GPCOG economic development plan. And one of the things that I see is that we really need to get the universities involved in it. So I think that that's a good role for the county, and I think there's a possibility to make a lot of improvement.
Thanks. Patty.
Thank you. We'll start with less than. I think, rightfully so, GPCOG has created quite a wheelhouse in the transportation sector, but also in economic development. So I think certainly partnering with GPCOG on some of those issues is critical. They have the talent, they have the firepower, they've got some great funding, and they're doing great work. On the more, what we can do more in the county is, one, we already serve 6 towns with our assessing. Many towns are struggling hiring an assessor, and this is critical to the big picture. So if we take on more communities and provide assessing assistance, that's one way we're helping everyone out. So we only have 6. We're building internal capacity to take on more towns, and I think that will really make a big difference in addition to what we're doing at 911 dispatch. Like I mentioned before, an amazing, talented team with a lot of internal growth that we use with ARPA funds to really build out that facility to be ready when crisis hit. You can count on the county.
Bob.
So I'm pretty much in agreement with everything Patty said, and I'll just expand on that a little bit. The county charter allows us to have some input with education also. And so part of the conversations we need to have is begin having what is the limits of county government. It doesn't end at town lines. When you have a fire, you have mutual aid, everybody shows up. A police call, everybody shows up. The same thing has to happen with our school districts also. We cannot begin to continue to operate just in town by town when services overlap, programs overlap. I think there's opportunities for us to bring the school districts to the table to talk about what are the ways that we can provide a more unified approach, more efficient cost savings across the board.
Thank you, Bob. Murphy.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's more we can do, especially on the homelessness front. The county did in 2024 a study on the Lakes Region Homeless Service Center, just a study. And I'd like to see what we can do to help solve homelessness through opening a center somewhere up in the Lakes region. I grew up in middle school, high school up in Naples, and so I was actually interested to see what they were going to do on that front. But there's also the home consortium that the county has with the city of Portland. I'd like to see it maybe funded in a way where it's not as competitive, because it is a competitive process between all the other towns outside of Portland and South Portland. And so for me, I think something more equitable that spurs on housing investment in other rural towns as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amy.
I agree a lot with what's been said. I think 2 things we need to bring our attention to in the next 4 years is jail budget stabilization and the loss of federal funding for health services. And in some of the, they kind of go hand in hand, right? So we'll need to work without raising taxes, most importantly, to secure funding. Maybe it's collaboration, like as Bob was speaking to, with other counties. Maybe it's trying to put a coalition together to go to the state to say, hey, listen, it's not just Cumberland County's piece to hold. All of the counties are having trouble funding their jails or funding their health services because we've lost all this federal funding. What can we as a state do? So those are 2 things I think that need more immediate attention.
Great. Sigrid, Patty, and Bob, this is for you. You have 30 seconds, so short, and you've already given us a little bit of a lead in, all of you. Where should Cumberland County lead regionally, and where should it defer to municipalities or support the Greater Portland Council of Governments work? Sigrid, I'll start with you.
Well, as I said, I think it needs to lead with, actually, I think the county, as I said in my introduction, because it is a layer of elected government between the many municipalities and the large state, it should be basically leading on everything. And economic development is one of the things that I think is really core.
Patty?
Thank you. Serving as a city councilor, I saw towns struggle with their budgets, what they could afford, what they couldn't. This is where the county needs to recognize where are the commonalities between certain municipalities. And I think the working group that we have currently with fire and EMS, we're working to understand what do they need so we can work more regionally as fire and EMS, centralized training, economies of scale with purchasing. These are the things where we can really make a difference and build out a better structure so county government plays a stronger role and supporting towns so they don't have to have their coffers run dry because they're trying to do it alone again. So we need to come together, and I think there's some good work being done right now.
Try not to repeat everything Patty says, but they're very important. You know, training officers, police departments, same thing, training officers. But I want to go back to the jail for just a second. The biggest opportunity for the county government is to engage our judiciary, our legislature, which we're not doing. We have a rainy day fund. Hey, folks, it's raining at the jail. You've got this big pot of money. You need to properly fund this. And so a lot of what we need to do is to get our legislatures down to the table and get them engaged and say, you have to support the county government where it's necessary. And the county jail is where it's necessary.
Thanks, Bob. Marfine, Amy, and Joel, this is for you, 30 seconds. And Marfine, you kind of teed this up. Homelessness is a vexing problem, and we have a revolving door between people landing in the county jail, in the emergency room, or in the shelters. And people come from all over the country, the state, and even out of state. What should the county's role be in managing homelessness? And would you support the county taking the lead in addressing this regional issue? Marfine, you first.
I strongly believe that, yes, the county should take a better lead on this issue because we can achieve cost savings and economies of scale. And not only the study on the Lakes Region Homeless Service Center, but also on a regional GA coordinator office.
General Assistance.
General Assistance office, where a lot of the smaller towns, they can't afford their own GA coordinator, General Assistance coordinator. And so if the county is able to have, just like the assessing office, a GA coordinator office, that helps to save towns money.
Amy?
This is a bigger situation. I don't want to say problem. It's a bigger situation than Cumberland County needs to solve by itself. We can't be on our own solving something like this. And I think that I'm happy to participate in a coalition with others, working with the state. It's not Cumberland County's problem. It's Maine's problem, right? So it's not Portland's problem. It's Maine's problem. So I would really get behind bigger policy initiatives than just it's Cumberland County's problem to solve.
Joel, your perspective?
Yes, thank you. I agree 100%. I think that it's a real challenge, and just putting our heads down and continuing to plot ahead with the way that we've been trying to manage the situation is not sustainable. It just keeps costing more and more every year. And so I'm very interested in learning about what has been successful in other counties, other states, other countries in trying to turn the situation in a more positive direction, and then getting buy-in from other participants to help pursue that.
Great. Well, thank you all for your perspectives on the county's role, what it can do and what it shouldn't be doing. We're now going to move on to budget and priorities and how you would make your decisions around tough things. So when something has to give, what gives? So county taxes are a smaller share of the overall property tax bill, but they're still rising. And this is because the county faces budget pressure that isn't going away. Federal revenue that once helped support the jail is gone. Some of you have spoken to that. And state reimbursement only covers a fraction of the mandated costs. So I'm going to start with you, with Patty, and ask you to talk about the what spending should increase or decrease or stay the same? And I know that's a big question, Patty, but I'm going to have you start with it, and you've got 30 seconds.
Sure.
With apologies.
Okay. First of all, I want to speak to the jail funding. Some people have mentioned this, is that we put a lot of pressure on our state legislators just this past couple of months. The DOC put a report out that we should be receiving $8 more million than we are. This is jails countywide in the state of Maine. We have not seen it. We have not seen an increase in jail funding since 2021. It's now 2026. We all know what our House bills look like. We know costs are rising. So it's clearly an unsustainable situation with the jail funding. So we need to go to Augusta. We need to fight for more dollars so that we can equalize and stabilize our jail funding appropriately, and then we can work on internal capacity and helping towns where they really need the help. So I really look hard to have a coalition and really work for the state to get the funding back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there another part of the question? I'm sorry. It seemed like it was double.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
Bob?
Yes. So every time you look at a budget, and I've looked at enough budgets over the years, and you see those cost increases, and almost always it's related to personnel costs, healthcare costs. Sometimes there's no new hires, but if you live in a community where your population is increases, you have to have new hires to balance that out. So that again goes back to you have to study efficiencies very hard. You have to study where collaboration will hold that cost down. It's waving a red flag at me.
Marfine.
Yeah, I think the county jail budget is going to need to be addressed. The county sheriff himself has stated in testimony that the county jail is probably one of the largest mental health centers and homeless shelters in some ways, because a lot of the unhoused who are dealing with chronic issues end up in the jail, incarcerated. And the county jail budget has just exploded in this, at least in this budget, from what I've seen, some figure around 25%, where there had to be a vote by the county commission to actually approve the amount it's grown. And so for me, I actually looked at diversion and prevention as the answer rather than incarceration. And so I will be looking at the county budget as a county commissioner, county jail budget. Yeah.
Thank you. Amy.
I'm not sure I would want to increase the county budget at this point. There's lots of levers in any kind of budget, whether it's cash management, whether it's bringing expenses together with other commissions and sharing expenses. So there's plenty of levers that you can pull, and I have done this before in Damerscott. We actually reduced property taxes through better cash management and pooling resources for certain contracts with other surrounding towns. So it can happen, and it has happened, and that's my stance, is responsible fiscal management.
Joel.
Thank you. Since we're all talking about the county jail budget, I'll just continue on that trend.
Yeah.
And I think the first approach I would take would be to talk to the county sheriff and the people managing the jail, and talk to them about what their highest costs are and what they feel is spiraling out of control, and then focus on prevention and alternative solutions to those problems rather than just continuing to expand the services that are so costly.
Thank you. Sigrid.
Well, I'm going to pick up on Bob's answer about collaboration, because when I was reading various reports on affordable housing or the opioid crisis or any number of these things, one of the things that came up over and over again was fragmentation and a lack of coordination. So I think that if we really focus on coordinating and collaborating with all the entities that are working and funded on an issue, then maybe we can get more bang for our buck and do more with the same money.
Okay, thank you. All right, Bob, Marfine, and Amy, this next question is for you. You have 30 seconds. If you're seated as commissioner and next year's budget requires a hard choice, would you cut services, draw down reserves, or raise taxes? And what would you do in what order? Bob.
Wow. That's a very difficult choice there. Is there a choice D? Your first inclination is always to slash the budget, cut costs. I think sometimes it's, you have to, and I'm not sure I can answer this with a definitive A, B, or C. You have to look at everything, and sometimes it's all the above.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a new way of doing things too, so you have to consider all those things. And red flag again.
Marfine, I know. The dreaded red flag.
I would definitely preserve the amount of funding that's gone into housing, violence prevention, and public health, but I would definitely look at the county jail budget. As I've said before, that's the largest budget line item that we have, and look at how we can reduce costs. And part of the growing costs in the jail is the healthcare costs for staffing, and so that would be my first choice. The second would be drawing on reserves as sort of a last case scenario. I think this year we've drawn on 500,000, but with a statement from the finance folks that we can't continue to do this, so state support is very much needed.
Amy?
I would primarily look at finding additional funding through grant funding and the state, but that will take time. So if it's an immediate decision, we would look to reduce taxes last.
Okay.
And just try and find and pull how many different levers, and even small little budget maneuvers can make a difference. That's been my experience.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Joel, Sigrid, and Patty, 30 seconds. How should the commission balance the property tax impacts on all of us as residents with service needs?
Ultimately, we're here to serve the county residents. So I think I would first look to inquire and get feedback from the county residents as to which services they felt were most valuable before deciding to cut services.
Sigrid?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. How should the commission balance property tax impacts with service needs?
Well, I think that a certain amount of things like personnel costs and expenses are rising. So there are some functions that the county is required to provide, and we would do our best to be as economical as possible, but perhaps we would need more money, and that would have to come from property taxes. But again, I would seek every opportunity to be more efficient and look for other sources of funding.
Okay, thank you.
That question is our mission. For county, we recognize that we have a tax burden that we want to minimize as much as possible so that people don't feel like they're not getting anything for their county tax dollars. What I'll say about increasing the services that we need to continue to communicate and collaborate and get together, work in groups, so we understand what are the services that really move the meter for particular towns. And it's different for all the different towns. There's 28 communities that we serve, so we really need to work in clusters and work together where we can to find out where are the pickups in terms of efficiencies and maximizing our dollar. We're always trying to balance that so that people feel like they're getting something for their county services. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So actually, Bob, we're going to move to Marfine.
Please let me answer that question.
I'm going to move on, though. So we're moving on to the next topic. I know Bob's going to hate me after this debate, right? We are going to talk about regional services and municipal partnerships next. And we want to understand what should the county be doing with towns, and also who decides what the county should be doing for towns. So cities and towns across Cumberland County are under growing pressure. Many of you know that firsthand if you've served in municipal government. You've got rising costs and staff shortages and shrinking capacity, and the county already provides some regionalized services to municipalities. So I'm going to start with you, Marfine, and you, Amy. How should the commission balance county leadership with respecting local control? You'll have 60 seconds.
Yeah, the way I think about it is it's not taking away local control or autonomy. It's about expanding capacity for all the municipalities and the county and its partners, which includes GPCOG, GP Metro, and some of our other partners. And so for me, it's about how do we work together to expand our collective capacity so that we can achieve things like more housing and more transportation and cost savings. Similar to I believe it's the road salt shared buying program that GPCOG has, where everyone is part of this program. You get reduced costs on purchasing for road salt. In that way, the county can approach from that perspective on IT equipment and maybe in the future, a shared buying program for fire trucks and public safety vehicles, especially when a lot of our towns just have volunteer fire departments. That's one area that we can actually do a lot in terms of the county.
Amy, what would you add?
So main systems are set up where the county doesn't really have as much power like in other states. So the towns have the power over their constituents, and so the county plays more of a supporting role. I would definitely support continuing that supportive role, not a power over under dynamic, but a power with. Definitely moving towards, what kind of services can we provide that Marfine was talking about is like shared purchasing, in collaboration. I don't really think we're just a support role. We're not going to tell the towns what to do. They do have to pay us property taxes as a portion to provide these supportive services, especially those that they don't provide themselves, like emergency services or jail or policing.
Thank you, Amy. All right, Joel and Sigrid, this one's for you. What's one way the county could be a better partner to towns and cities? You have 60 seconds.
I see this as kind of a continuation of what we were just talking about, and I see the role of the county as more of a facilitator in that kind of role, to reach out to the towns within the county and ask them how the county can facilitate shared services, shared purchasing power, shared support, anything that the towns are looking for additional help or resources, or just somebody to help bring people together in order to collaborate.
Thank you.
Well, actually, I think one area where the county can really take leadership is in stuff like assessing, because if you look at the assessor databases across the county, you see everyone's format is completely different, and it's hard to coordinate them. In fact, I did a project for the data innovation project, just looking at how do you put a lot of these databases where you have really important information together to make them more effective, and it was not actually easy. And so here's a place that you could really, the county could be providing a service, and we would have a much stronger and more informative database, because you wouldn't be stuck with, here's a field that says acres and there's a field that says land.
Thank you. All right, Patty and Bob. Bob, we're getting back to you. So we've got this question for you, 60 seconds. Give us a specific service you would or would not want the county to offer regionally. Patty?
What would we want to offer regionally? Well, I think, I'll say that I think the assessing field is one that we offer, but we could do more. I think we could be more innovative. We could be more creative in how we reach out to communities. And I think the 6 towns that we assess with now, it is all about understanding the databases. It's not easy to merge databases that were our legacy systems. So we see that opportunity. We would love to take on more folks to assess, and I think that'd be probably an easy win for us. What I don't think that we should probably invest in is, I said it before, GPCOG, you own transportation. You do a wonderful job in getting funding and helping people move throughout the county in positive ways. Smart streets, smart growth, smart safe streets, smart growth. That's a wheelhouse that I think we don't have as much talent in. And I think partnering with GPCOG to help convene is great, but I think that's not a services that we have a huge track record in.
Bob?
I had a conversation with my police lieutenant here about a year ago, and I said, so what makes Cumberland police officers better than Yarmouth police officers? And she went into this spiel about, well, we go this extra step. And I thought to myself, well, that's just wrong. We should be training people that are qualified for a job, whether it's EMTs, firefighters, firefighter 2, police officers. We should be collaborating so that we have a pool of people who are qualified, and it shouldn't matter who's hired them, what police department. And we need training across the board that is uniform, that has a national standard or state standards. We can't just rely on local, because everybody responds for emergency, fire, rescue, EMT, and the same thing with municipal employees. We need the collaboration and the uniformity of training, and I think that's where the county has a leg to step up on and move that conversation forward.
Thank you, Bob. We're now going to move on to jails. We've already touched on it a little bit, but I've got a couple specific questions. Amy, we'll be starting with you. The Cumberland County Jail is one of the county's largest responsibilities, and the county jail now requires more than $21 million in local property tax support, which is up more than $4 million in a single year, largely because the state mandates operations it doesn't fully fund. That burden falls directly on homeowners. So, Amy, this question will be for all of you, and you have 30 seconds. We'll start with Amy. What changes, if any, would you make to how the jail operates?
I'll be perfectly honest in that I don't know enough information about the jail. Are the primary uses of the jail transitory? So in the business community, we have a concept called seasonality. So a lot of businesses in Maine are seasonal. That means they only get use or business 6 months of the year. So Maine is very seasonal. Is our jail seasonal? So we have about 1.6 million residents, but we have 6 to 7 million people coming in every year. So I would have to understand, is this jail being utilized seasonally? If so, are there ways that we can attack funding based on this concept of seasonality, of all of these people coming into the state? There's got to be ways that we can capture all of this tourism money and put it towards the services that we pay for year-round, but are really heavily used only in a seasonality way.
Thank you, Amy. Joel?
I'm very interested in learning about how, at the county level, we can better support mental health, because it's my understanding that that is one of the big contributors to the cost overruns at the county jail. And I'm a big fan of being proactive rather than reactive when solving those kinds of issues.
Sigrid?
Well, I actually agree on the mental health. I think we need stronger mental health services. I have a handicapped brother, and so I really appreciate, all the services somebody needs. But additionally, I think, and I haven't really focused on this, but I understand from some of the DAs that Maine could have a stronger parole system, and that we could have fewer people in the jail, which should hopefully bring down the costs. And that would be something that I would work on pretty strongly.
The jail is the biggest topic in the room, for sure. Two things. One, restorative justice. That's one way to eliminate people going into the jail or staying in the jail a longer time. I know the DA is working on that. I think restorative justice is a model towards, not just incarceration, but really working towards mutual understanding and starting a new life. So I think restorative justice is one piece of it. But the funding and what it takes to run a jail with there's a lot of co-occurrences, which meaning there's mental illness, there's often addiction running concurrently with someone who had created a crime or been time charged for a crime. So we have all of those things operating in the jail, and it's very expensive. We need to right size our jail. And when I say that, we need to look at the cost of how many correction officers we have and the incidence of folks using the jail. And unfortunately, you'll find out that our charter only allows us to financially work through the jail. We do not deal with operations. We do not tell the sheriff what to do. He's an elected official himself. So we have to really look at the budget to understand how to right size the jail. And I think that's where we're headed. Thank you.
The jail is a home of last resort. A large number of people, I'd say a majority of the people either have a health issue, a mental health issue, a drug issue, and it's reflected in criminal activity of one sort or another. It's systemic in our society, and the jail simply is underfunded because it's trying to be everything. It's almost a small scale mental hospital. If you listen to the sheriff make his presentations, and they're not just corrections officers in there. There's everything in between. These healthcare professionals, nurses, our doctor on call. Unfortunately, it's a big cost, but I don't see the cost going away. And I think, one of the things we can do is have that larger discussion. Do we need to have a mental health facility outside of the jail where people can get health? Do we need different programs? And so I think there's another red flag.
I'm not sure if that's a question. I think yes, we do.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Marfine?
I think number one, I agree with Patty. We need to right size, look at right sizing. Number two, we need to address the state funding issue. They've been handing down unfunded mandates and folks in the jail who aren't no funding attached to them. And then third, a lot of what folks have said is, Maine people, we like our rivers, right? So if we look at it from an upstream, downstream kind of perspective, the jail should be at the very end of the downstream. And so we can do a lot of things upstream with public health, with violence prevention and restorative justice that can prevent a lot of these folks from ending up in the jails, because the cost to jail someone and to incarcerate them is way more expensive than prevention.
Thank you, Marfine. All right, we're going to move on to your leadership style and how you would collaborate with your fellow commissioners if you were elected. Joel, we're going to start with you, and this will also be for Sigrid. Because the county isn't well understood by many people in the region, what would you do to help people understand the county's work and make the county's decisions more transparent and understandable to the public? And you've got 60 seconds.
Great. First, I would take my time to learn about what the county currently does, because I'm sure this is not a brand new idea to try to communicate to citizens what the county commission does. And then I would look at other models for how other counties and other states do a good job communicating to their residents of what they do, and then try to get other commissioners on board with trialing that process.
Thank you. Sigrid.
Well, I think one of the roles of county commissioner is to be an advocate for the county, and I think that the low visibility is a serious problem. So I've thought about how do we raise the county's profile with media, how do we get more attention to the county, because if we want to have strong county government, we need engaged citizens, and engaged citizens are people who know what the county does and care what the county does.
Thank you, Sigrid. All right, Patty and Bob, you're up next. What is one issue where you disagree with other candidates on this stage, and why? 60 seconds.
I'm not sure how I disagree with the candidates on stage since I've just met you for the first time. So can you reframe your question maybe? Or?
Sure. Are there different ways that you would approach some of the issues than what you've heard from the candidates here tonight? Maybe it's on the jail or regionalization or roles.
Yeah, I think, I guess what I would say is a lot of folks, we've talked a lot about what does the county do? No one knows what the county does. I think that's a legacy issue that follows the county to this day. And I think, we have engaged citizenry. When we went from 0 people attending our meetings to 200 people, 400 online, with the whole issue with ICE in our jail, we had engaged citizens. They know what the county does, or at least they have an idea. And I think that was important for us to understand, is that, the status quo is going to get us nowhere. We need to move in a positive way, in an innovative way, to become the county that we can be in terms of innovative solutions, working on an unhoused population. There's a million things that we can be doing differently. And I think now that ICE kind of broke us wide open, that was the silver lining. People now know we have a county government, and it's great to see all these people in the room interested in running, and I think I don't disagree with you all running at all. I think the biggest thing is there's 28 communities. If you've served for a community like myself, I've served South Portland, learning how to work with your co-commissioners is a big learning curve. We have 5 commissioners. They're serving other folks. I didn't see eye to eye how they saw eye to eye on ICE. Some of those commissioners thought ICE was doing just a fine job. I did not agree with that. So it's learning to work with others and still coming to a compromise.
Thank you, Patty. Bob?
When I was my first year of the Cumberland Town Council, older fellow Bill Stiles said, by the way, Bob, you're going to volunteer for the county budget committee. And I did. And we have yet to fill all the slots on the county budget committee. People have to become engaged. And the only way you can become engaged is time and service. It's like learning a profession or a trade. I've seen so many people on school boards, town councils, they serve a term, maybe they serve a second term, and they move on to something else. So there's no proficiency gain. There's no chance to learn their job. So we need people that can make a commitment to serve time, to expand their view beyond their town lines, to get engaged and find out, yes, there's a county government. How can I be involved with that? And the county Commissioners need to go to town council meetings. They need to sit in on school board meetings and so people see the face, say, oh yeah.
Thank you, Bob. Marfine and Amy, what is a decision, if there is one, that the commission has made recently that you disagreed with, or one that you would have handled differently? Marfine?
That's a tough one because I've been zoned in on the ICE issue. I think that actually something I disagreed with at the recent county commission meeting where they canceled the ICE contract was a response from a few members of the commission, but also the sheriff about whether they would actually follow that. At least that's how I interpreted it, because a new state law has been passed prohibiting collaboration between law enforcement and ICE. And so for me, even though the majority of the commissioners at the meeting had voted to cancel the ICE contract, I felt that some of the statements made after by the county sheriff and another member of the commission were contrary to sort of the legislative intent. And so for me, I disagreed with that part of that meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Amy?
I obviously disagreed with signing that portion of the contract that worked with ICE. That's been overturned. So then I guess it's so negative, I would disagree. But I definitely felt uncomfortable with the very large increase in budget for fiscal year 2026.
Okay. We're going to try a little rapid fire here, all right? And we're going to go this way instead of that way. So Bob, you're going to be first up. And what I want is 1 or 2 words and no explanation unless I ask you, all right? So let's think of it as a game. So Bob, you're up first. The biggest county challenge. 1 word.
Identification.
Patty?
Funding.
Sigrid?
Economic development.
Joel?
Growth.
Yep.
Jail.
Capacity.
Excellent. One thing you'd cut. I'm going to start with Patty, because that's unfair to put you on the spot. Patty,
Well,
one thing you'd cut,
thank you.
if there is one.
I don't think she likes us.
I'd right-size the jail, which could possibly mean cutting.
Sigrid?
I might look at privatizing the Cross Arena.
Okay.
I'm going to pass. I don't feel like I'm educated enough to decide to cut something.
Fair.
I'm agreeing with the Cross Arena.
Okay.
Jail.
Okay. One thing you'd fund more. We'll mix it up. Sigrid, I'm going to start with you.
I'd fund more on economic development. I think we need good paying jobs and
Okay. That's good. Short. Joel?
Mental health services.
Health services.
Homeless response.
Healthcare and homeless services.
Expand our current public department in the county.
Okay. One thing to increase transparency. Joel?
Where the budget goes.
Amy?
I guess more detailed line items on the budget.
Yep.
Where we actually make some revenue, which is the arena.
Okay. Bob?
Community outreach.
Community connections.
I think community connections, but I think the website could be improved too.
Wonderful.
It's like the face of the county and it could be improved.
Thank you, Sigrid. So Cumberland County doesn't make a lot of headlines, but the decisions made by the county affect property tax bills, public safety, and the capacity of every town and in this county to function. This is your closing statement. What is the one thing that you would want voters to remember about why you're running and what you'll actually change? And Sigrid, I'm going to start with you, and we're going to go this way.
Okay, well, I'm running to increase because I think we need more coordination with all the county partners to leverage the funds we have because we have a limited budget. And I'm also running because I think greater transparency and visibility of the county is really important. And those are the things that I want to achieve.
Thank you, Sigrid.
Christine, can you repeat the question just as a reframing?
What's the one thing you want voters to remember about why you're running and what you'll actually change?
Great. Thank you. I'm looking to be reelected because I feel as though I've worked very hard to build relationships throughout the county. I think my experience as a city councilor is unique in itself, and I feel that I will bring my best work forward because of my experience. And just to let folks know, we started with a 13.88 tax increase. We're now down to 10.5. We took that extra jail money that we just received, gave it right back to the taxpayers. So I'm keenly aware of tax burden, but I also know that we have a really innovative crew, and I think only with great new ideas will we have more innovative solutions to bring the county into a leadership role. And I'm just thrilled to represent folks currently, and I look to in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Bob.
20-some years ago, Governor Baldacci had an idea about school consolidation and how that might work. It was a great idea. The implementation was more or less a failure. So I view that as a challenge, and it's something that's been pressing for me for ever since I was on the school board and going forward is how do we bring more efficiencies? How can we do things differently? We can't keep doing the same thing year after year and expect a different outcome. We have to take the challenge of looking outside the box. We need to bring our communities together, and we need to bring these ideas to the fore. And I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Thank you, Bob. Murphy.
Yeah, I was truly struck by statements made by Commissioner Patty Smith and Commissioner Jean Marie Caterina at the last meeting, where they admonished or acknowledged that there was some lost trust with the county because of the ICE contract, and that they were going to work to rebuild that trust. And I think to rebuild that trust is not only to take a stand against ICE, but to do things in think bigger, think bolder, and be as creative and let our imaginations be as big as the problems that we're trying to face. I think when we hold ourselves back from actually thinking creatively, especially around cost savings, for instance, then people lose trust over time because we're not thinking bigger and broadly enough.
Thank you, Murphy. Amy.
Yep. So I have a track record of working in municipalities with budget and finding cost savings and reducing taxes. So that's something that I've done and have experience with. One thing that I really want to explore is a collaboration between all counties and all parties that are invested in the outcome of getting more state funding. And that's kind of piggybacking on the story that I was beginning to explore about the seasonality of Maine and all the millions of dollars that come into the state for just a short period of time. How we can work together to capture that and not leave the residents of Maine having to pay to run all of these systems that we need to serve, $6 to $7 million people half of the year. And that's something I would like to prioritize when I'm on the commission.
Thank you, Amy. Joel.
I ran my small business through the pandemic, and that required reevaluating a lot of ways that we operated for a variety of reasons. And I think that experience has brought me to a place where I'm very open to reconsidering and reevaluating how things are done. I hate to use the outside the box metaphor, but there it is. And I think that getting people together and coming up with creative solutions to difficult challenges is something that I'm up for.
All right. Well, thank you. This concludes our forum today. I want to thank all of you for being here. All 6 of you came, and also for your willingness to step up and lead Cumberland County. And I want to thank all of you who have watched. And don't forget to vote on Tuesday, June 9th.